When I was little, I literally cried about getting Barbies and followed the guys around and tried taking my shirt off all the time. I'm sure other people have been through my experience, the same kind of confusion during childhood. It's not like I decided it halfway through life. There's signs of it. I think kids should talk about it so they can understand why they feel the way they do, instead of me in the middle of the night, at 10 years old, wondering why I don't have a penis or why I have boobs growing in, why I can't be who I want to be. These kids just get stuck having to deal with these feelings to themselves. Kids are just curious, they just want to learn, and they won't think queerness is weird or confusing if they aren't taught to think that way.
Hey, stop, man.
Woo!
I wanted to always wear guy clothes and such, but I forced myself to try to be girly. I never really talked to my grandparents about it until Miley Cyrus cut all her hair off.
Set, rumble, go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, she can do that? I can do that. So I had to tell my grandma, and she was like, okay, it's hair, it'll grow back. You can cut it all off, and then during high school, I finally decided, yeah, I'm not wearing girly stuff anymore. I'm going to wear men's clothing, I'm going to wear my men's underwear, and they never really questioned it at all. Forcing myself to wear girly clothes when I was younger was painful mentally. I hated feeling like I needed to shave all the time. I would try to force myself into yoga pants and Aeropostale shirts. This isn't what I'm supposed to look like. I would look at the other guys and be like, wow, I want to be like that in that outfit. Finally cutting all my hair off was my first experience with gender euphoria. I'm pretty sure I cried about it. That was definitely a big stepping point, and everyone loved it too, so that also made me feel really good. I couldn't stop smiling. Growing up queer was kind of a struggle here because there wasn't a lot of people that I knew that were open about liking women or felt the same that I did, so I felt like I couldn't talk about it very much. It's probably why I also didn't come out until high school. I remember though hearing about a queer couple in middle school, and I was like, wow, thank you for just being so open about it. I was jealous of how open they were about it, and I mean, growing up, I just felt very closeted. So I mean, I was happy with myself until I started feeling like, I don't know, knowing I liked girls was super comfortable for me. But then I'd have to deal with the fact that I wish I was a man and liked them, which I didn't really understand what that feeling was because I didn't even know the term until high school.
That hurt me.
So I thought, maybe I was just crazy, not crazy, but just not understanding what I was actually feeling. Sadly, I didn't even know about the trans community until I was 18. I remember the first trans person I saw was this guy on Instagram, and I remember just freaking out about it. I was so excited. I was like, holy shit, that's it, that's what it is. I was freaking out, but it sucks that I didn't know until I was 18, but it was super exciting. I stalked his account forever, and honestly, I still stalk his account to this day. Now I've actually talked to him too. It was definitely an eye-opener, and it was so validating to know, and then I really dove into looking everything up since it was starting to be more common. It felt really good to understand what I was feeling and to know that I wasn't the only one. After finding out what being trans was and looking back on everything I felt and cried about as a child was so validating because I was like, there's a reason for this. Other people feel this, it makes sense. I used to pray to whatever I was praying to, like, why would you do this to me? And now I feel like I had answers. I'd say my relationship to my gender really started evolving when I got to move out into the city on my own. In the middle of the night one night, I decided I'm just gonna message doctors. And then I did everything secret to my family because I didn't want to talk about it. But really, I'd say being away from everybody helped a lot, because I could just think about it on my own terms and not feel like I had to get permission from anyone until I had to call them about insurance. That decision to finally say fuck it and contact doctors for top surgery, it was just one of those things when you have that random thought, or you just want to change your life in the middle of the night, and the next morning you wake up and you're like, oh shit. Also, because the doctor that I chose, she messaged me back in the middle of the night, so I had a panic attack because I'm like, oh my god, shit. I didn't expect a response literally 2 seconds later. So like this erratic decision in the middle of the night turned into, oh yeah, this is happening now. Having that moment in the middle of the night changed my life. Because 2 months later, I had my titties chopped off. Like, what the fuck? I was so nervous the whole time during the top surgery process, but my doctor was so chill. She answered every question anytime, 3 in the morning, this is your answer. I remember I said I wanted to wait because I was nervous, and then her assistant messaged me and said we have an opening October, which was only a month away, and I'm like, oh my god. It all went super fast. I emailed her, and then all of a sudden I'm in the surgery room like, oh my god, what's happening? It just felt like a blur, but also just so exciting. It couldn't have gone any better. We did have to basically lie to insurance, hope that's fine to say, but we just went about it as breast reduction, which I mean, to be fair, yeah. I was still going by she, her, and everything, so when the insurance company called me, I had to just say, yeah, my back is hurting, titty's big. Oh, I was super nervous about that, but my doctor said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And she did most of the communication with insurance. The only thing, once I got on my appointment, I was like, I suppose I should tell my grandma because she's gonna get letters in the mail about a surgery coming up. So I called my grandma literally in the parking lot of my doctor's appointment and said, hey, this is the deal. This is happening. Also, I think I'm trans. Like, all threw it on her at once. Then I had to go home and actually sit down and explain to them what that meant. It took a second for my grandpa to understand, but I kind of explained to him that growing up with my uncle, him running around shirtless all the time, me hanging out with him and his guy friends, I was so jealous of him constantly. And my grandpa was like, I think I can understand that. And we all just had this good talk about it, and they said, okay, we'll go get your chitties chopped off. They came to my surgery too. They sat with Kess, my partner, the whole time, and they played dice. I remember I used to sit in the shower with my boobs were coming in, and I would literally scrunch up my neck to like tighten my boobs to my chest and say, I don't want them here. I just remember being so mad all the time. One of these options, they've been on my chest. Having that positive response from my grandparents and for them to drive to my surgery just to sit in the waiting room for hours to support me felt amazing. When I hear these other stories of trans people literally disowned from their family, I mean, I couldn't imagine my grandparents not being in my life because they just didn't like what I was doing or who I am. I do have a couple of other family members that don't really support it, but they don't want to kick me out. So I mean, I've had such a good experience with my family being supportive, and I just can't imagine what some of these other trans people are going through, knowing that disownment or getting kicked out was the reality for some other people before I'd even gone through this. I was really nervous that that would happen, and it didn't. I remember throwing up the second I woke up from my surgery. Other than that, honestly, it was a lot of numb feeling, and I didn't really process anything until she took the wrap off, because a lot of it was just gross tubes and being super numb and itchy all the time. So there wasn't this euphoric feeling until later, but then, like, even when she took the wrap off, like, I still had this picture in my head that I wanted to be this ripped, masculine man, and that's just not what I looked like. And so I think, yes, I was super happy, but at that point I knew I still had a lot of work to do. But I was happy to not have to wear a bra anymore. God, it's so nice to put on a shirt and not have a bra. It was so exciting, but I was still very anxious to be shirtless, and that euphoric shirtless feeling didn't come until much later, and even then it was still coupled with anxiety. I think I can name on one hand how many times I've been shirtless in public. I'd say the first time was when I was with my family in Memphis, and they were like, yeah, whatever. And it felt so nice to just be shirtless, and for my little cousin to not even question it, other than being like, oh, you have scars on your chest. That felt really good, but honestly I still haven't had that extreme moment out in public being shirtless where I'm totally cool now. I still get super anxious all the time, but I was just telling Kess today I did a chest day, and my chest is like triple the size of when I was when I first got my surgery. I'm getting the butt crack between the chest. The last year has been the most euphoric since I had surgery. This is the happiest I've been with myself and how I look. I'm really starting to feel like I don't need to scrunch up when I'm out in public. I feel so much more myself now than I did before. I'd say I was stressed out pretty much most of my transition until recently. I would not be on hormones right now if it weren't for members of the trans community I found in this town and their support and guidance. Coming into this town, this super conservative bullshit of a town, and seeing my family every day, I feel like I couldn't start hormones. But then I talked to a trans friend and he said, I started 10 years ago. I see people from high school and they don't even question it. And I was like shocked, so I was like, fuck it. And again, it was one of those moments where I just made an appointment. If it wasn't for the people that have been through it being open, there's no way I would be as far as my process as I am today. So thank you to those people for being open about it and going through it first. They've been super supportive and great, and I can ask them any questions, and I hope that I can be that person for others in the future. Now taking testosterone, I'm like, look at this freaking 16-year-old boy, cracking voice and beach fuzz on my face, hairy ass. It's good, but they really do mean it takes time because I'm already a year into it. Considering how far I've come, now listening to old videos of me talking, I'm like, who the fuck is that? Today marks my 1 year on hormones. I cannot be happier. Who's that annoying little bitch? But it's a slow process. There's so much more that I'm waiting for. For me, going to the gym has really helped me change my perception of myself and my masculinity. I can lift double the weight that I could before hormones. It's so good, but I mean, I'm a little intimidated by other men right now because they still just lift so much. These little scrawny boys come up next to me and lift more than me, and I'm like, alright, I still have a lot of work to do, but 2 years ago, there's no way I would be so confident to sweat and make noises right next to 3 different men. And now I'm like, ugh, I would never have done that before. So my muscle gain has been a lot, and hormones also help, but I just feel so much more confident. I don't pass as a woman anymore at all. Anytime someone sees me in the store, they'll see me from behind with long hair and they'll be like, ma'am, I'm so sorry, I mean, sir. And that is so weird to me because it's always been the other way around. Or they say sir and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I have not gotten that for almost a year. I can go to the men's restroom now, nobody questions it at all. God though, men are disgusting, so that's gross, but it's really nice. I finally told everyone that my pronouns were he, him in a Facebook post. It was one of those late night decisions where I just decided to post it. Clearly that's the only thing I know how to do. And then I woke up the next morning and my Facebook had blown up. I was really anxious because I knew that my great grandma would see it and I hadn't told a lot of my dad's side of the family. But I had a lot of likes and comments from them and it's as if nobody was really that surprised. It was really nice to see all the support on there and nobody had been mean and nobody had second guessed it at all. I actually didn't like people using he, him pronouns at first because it just felt wrong. Going 21 years, 22 years of my life, it felt really wrong. And then I would feel like I wasn't worthy of being called he. I would actually get really stressed out. Honestly, it wasn't until recently where I felt like it would just be weird if you called me she. My other grandparents still do, and I'm like, wait, what? So that took a while. It was maybe not as exciting as it is for some other trans men to be called he, like I was. Just stressed out a lot of the time. It just never felt like I was there yet with my masculinity. It was just a sense of dysphoria because I feel like outwardly my appearance didn't match the man I wanted to be. But looking at myself as a man now and knowing that so much is still going to happen, it's just great. I'm gonna be a gorilla man. Even just yesterday I was like, my mustache is in my mouth. I think that's why I definitely feel it now because I know that I pass as a man. Being in a relationship, Kess has never made me feel not manly. She'll say you're more manly than my exes. Being with her, it's just so easy because she's always seen me like that. There are times where I don't feel like I'm good enough. Sexually, sometimes I feel like I can't live up to being a man and that's been stressful. It's not fair for her. She's made it very clear that it's not a problem for her, but to me, I get that dysphoria. We don't argue about it, but there's times where it kind of just ruins the mood because I just lose it. I really get sad about it. I get sad a lot about it. Lately it's been better for me, but I know for a while there was a problem. I don't physically like being touched very much. It's very rare when I let it happen because I'm just reminded all over again that I don't have what I want down there. I know that someday I do want to get the other surgery, but fuck, I can't afford that. I mean, God, it's a lot of money. It's so much money and I know that if I could, I would do it right now. So I'd say in a relationship, that's the only thing that's stressful to me. We're planning on moving away from here and it just feels like a dream right now. We're moving around Portland and the idea of living in a place that's accepting of queerness is so exciting. Portland feels like the capital of queerness and I can't wait to live there. The couple of times I've been there, you just see everybody and anybody living their best life, wearing whatever they want. No more Trump shirts, no more American Eagle on their flag shirts. Like everyone's just so cool looking. I'm so excited to be a part of that right next to hiking in mountains. I think being outside really appeals to my inner child because that's where I felt free in my childhood. Just riding around on my bike when I was younger felt so freeing at the time, and just realizing how much more you can do as an adult. When I went mountain climbing for the first time, as much as I cried and feared for my life, I had a great experience because there's so much of the world to see. I love just being outside in the woods. I feel like I can just be who I am and feel great about it. I'm so excited to experience all of that feeling and looking like myself finally. Since my transition has started, my relationship to clothes has changed so much. It's been so great. There's so many more shirts I can buy now without having titties and being more muscular. Shirts fit me how I've always wanted them to fit me. I've been able to fit into jeans better, and my legs and hips don't look as girly as they used to. So I'm actually comfortable wearing jeans now, which I never thought I'd say, honestly. It's been great. I have so much underwear. I freaking love underwear. I have a weird obsession. Sorry, Kess. I love men's underwear. It's like wearing shorts all the time. I love it. It's so good. I'm excited to just continue my transition, excited to have a good beard and to live somewhere else where nobody knows me, and nobody will know of my past because nobody is entitled to it, and I will get to share it on my own terms. I'm just excited to continue.